received this letter in my postal mail. See, so that's my home address. So whoever sent it sends my home address. Sent it, that was a return. Sent it to me October 19th from Buffalo. I have no idea who sent it to me. And whoever sent it to me had sent it to the Buffalo News. And it's a printout of an email from David Goldberg. And it was sent to the board as it stood. It was sent on Tuesday, September 15th. And it was sent to Jody Goldstein, who's the vice president on the board, Sharon Schwartz, one of the lawyers who took away the support for me, another female lawyer, Adam Field, board member, who's a PT guy over at the JCC, Julie Weinberg, social worker, and immediate past president, the one who wanted me to handle all my personnel issues. Steve Yanati, also another lawyer, man. Carol Wisnott, not a lawyer. Kids actually, all these people that are kids from my students. Toby Lathing, her father was one of the most well-beloved rabbis of Temple Zion, Rabbi Fink. Ken Graver, also another lawyer, who I've worked with. I've counseled his wife. It's Susan Bruckheimer, Sisterhood Whatever. Dr. Eric Snitzer, he is a radiologist, also a member of the board. Dr. Philip Flick, who is all about, pro-women and this and that, right? He's a cardiac, surgeon. Michael Kahn, Louis Chevelle, and copy to, Louis is a kid, he's in high school.
Yeah, I actually know that. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so, and copied is Jeff Park, the executive director, Andy Chevelle, who is the chair of governance, which means that when we put people onto our board of directors, that Andy kind of spearheads that, and Randy Odza, who is the synagogue attorney at the time, up until recently. It says, subject, crossroads, important. I'm gonna read this whole thing to you, so just buckle up, okay? Good evening, I'm gonna try to do it without any tone. Good evening, my friends. I'm writing to all, it's italicized and bold, all for help and guidance, and I need to talk out loud with my friends, and please, hear me out. This is from the president, David Goldberg. I feel that the board and the temple as a whole, are at a crossroads. We have done an admirable job up to now of trying to run the temple, protect the rabbi, shield our congregants, pacify our cantor, put on our happy faces, and hide our dirty little secrets, as evidenced by the super positive list of accomplishments provided by Jeff, that's the executive director, like Rick Ellis, of all that has been accomplished. I feel at this time that we may not be in a position to continue with the charade. Let me start with explaining what I see are the factors we have to face. In light of the message we received from Cantor Ostfeld, do you know who Cantor Ostfeld is?
No, I don't.
Okay. Cantor Barbara Ostfeld, is the first female ordained cantor from the 1970s. She was married to Cantor Mark Horowitz. She was at Temple Beth Am for a long time, and she's now a member of Temple Beth Zion. She's been a member, and she has mentored me. She has supported me, and as a female in the 1970s, going to a school where never a woman had been, she was just a few years after the first female rabbi ever in the history. That's the 70s. I'm 46. That happened when I was born. So she's a member of the congregation. And the congregation, Temple Zion, received a letter that said there are many rumors out there. We can't discuss the details about why we're letting the rabbi go, because they were going to say ethical violations, but they didn't. But we need to protect the rabbi and his family. She calls me up, she goes, Penny, I know it's been a while, what the fuck is going on? And I told her everything. She sends a very impassioned email to the Board of Trustees of Temple Zion saying, look, you have to rally around your cantor. She was the victim. our Torah says, and she quotes Torah, and she's brilliant, right? So and that's why he says, in light of the message we received from Cantor Ostfeld, the public may now soon know more than we have shared. So David goes on, I have been asked repeatedly by congregants to tell them the truth, or at least provide more than we already have. Whether we care to admit it or not, our rabbi did act inappropriately with the cantor and some of our congregants. Whether we care to admit it or not, our cantor is a victim of abuse. If the public does learn of the real truth, and they do not hear it from us, we look complicit, or worse. He writes, I blew, capital letters, the chance to reveal some of the details with the way I handled the congregational meeting, possibly making it worse now than it was, and I accept that. We are about to grant the cantor a paid, and it's italicized, leave of absence because of the actions of the rabbi, and we have to explain that now too. We know our cantor is difficult. Yeah. But how much of that is because of her quote-unquote treatment by the rabbi, and in her minds by us too, and he puts it, quotes, treatment. We know that the rabbi is pretty easy to work with, but is prone to huge lapses of judgment, and is ultimately the problem. There are already whispers in the community about the crap going on at TVZ. So let me ask the inevitable questions of you all. Can this organization survive the public ridicule and shame if the secret comes out and it is not disclosed by us? Are we better served as a temple and as an organization if we face our problem, disclose our problem, handle our problem? Question mark. Is it better for our beloved temple to come clean once and for all? I know, your face is red, I know. Once and for all, and stop trying to tiptoe around this mess. My friends, I am extremely troubled by the situation we are in, and cannot help but take some responsibility for making it worse. But I am secure enough to come forward, admit my error, and move forward. I did not cause this mess. I did not ask for this mess, but I am the current president of the board and the face of the organization. And unlike a certain current president, he's referring to Trump, I do accept the responsibility of my office. No, he doesn't. That's between you and me, and the congregation, because they know it, because he promised them a meeting, which they've never had.
Oh.
But I also know that I have all of you to help. I cannot and will not go rogue, because he already did that before, which caused this huge mess, and make this decision by myself. I'm taking this opportunity to ask you all to consider, especially as we go into the high holy days, that we make some hard decisions. I am willing to humbly apologize to the congregation with the explanation that I was trying to save everyone from the details and disclose our problem. I'm thinking out loud that maybe it is time to explain to the rabbi that we are no longer in a position to continue to protect him right after the holidays. I also realize that many of you would think twice about cutting ties early with the rabbi and paying him off instead of the cantor, which I found that offensive, actually, because you do not trust the cantor. They don't trust me because I hired a woman, a person with a vagina who is tough. That's why they don't trust me. I think that's the whole crux of it. I would offer the counter argument, he says, that if we took the correct path, the cantor might begin to feel that she has some support and could become the clergy we need to get us through. We continue our search for an interim rabbi. We continue to try to think about going back to a traditional model, which is what I explained to you earlier, hierarchy, rabbi cantor. We continue our search for a permanent rabbi, and I know for a fact we could obtain help from outside sources, like Rabbi Evans, in particular, who would come help us, knowing that they would not have to deal with Rabbi Jonathan. I ask you all, please think hard about what we are doing, why we are doing it, and what we are all really gaining or losing here in our effort to, quote-unquote, save the rabbi. Save the fucking abuser. Pardon me, Maddie. You can call me fine. What?
You're fine.
No. In our effort to save the rabbi and his family, Are we hurting our members in the long run? Question mark. In our effort to save the rabbi and his family, are we hurting our cantor more, regardless of how you personally feel about her? I tell you, Maddie, if I was not loved, they wouldn't have had me there for 14
years. Yeah, we're done with it.
Yeah. The cantor has written a letter to the congregation regarding her leave, so I wanted to write it out, and so that it would be ready to go, so that when I went on my leave of absence, B'nai Mitzvah families who have bar mitzvahs during my leave of absence wouldn't be completely caught off guard. So this email came out 2 weeks before I left, and I left the country by myself for 2 weeks because I had to get out of Buffalo because it's a small town. He writes, the cantor has written a letter to the congregation regarding her leave. She does not disclose any details, but she is insistent on some language. Before I share this letter, I want all of you to please seriously consider where I am and where we are. And then he writes, I spent almost 3 hours last night with Anna Marie Richmond and the cantor as the cantor laid out all of the needs of B'nai Mitzvah students, holidays, bulletins, that's our monthly publication. Consecration, that's for the little kids. Confirmation, which sophomores in high school. Youth group, and this is all I was in charge of. And 2 pages of notes on what we should worry about in her absence. I spent another 2 hours with Anna Marie and Jeff. Anna Marie is the chair of our ritual committee. She's not a board member. She's a female. She's a lawyer. She's an advocate. She was also quoted in the Hadassah magazine. And she's still a member there, still doing this, but they haven't given her shit. But I'm the easy target because I'm not there anymore. He writes, I spent another 2 hours with Anna Marie and Jeff Clark with the rabbi and Judy Henn, who's been working with him beside, trying to coordinate the lists. Let me tell you that it was the rabbi that was harder to work with. Not a judgment, just a fact. For this group, let me make myself clear. And he writes it in bold and italics. I think it's time for TVZ to come clean about our rabbi, cut our ties, and not face the institutional humiliation that we could face by continuing to deny, hide, suppress, and we should do it right after the high balloon days. So, I mean, it just says, I've said more than enough, but I'm the one that's ultimately holding the bag. I wish to thank you for your guidance and suggestions. And then he just said, I wish you a good night. So, I don't know who sent this to me. I don't ever want to know who sent it to me.